ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Hello and salutations on this wonderful Thursday.
Ladies and gentlemen, I, of course, am your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the prolific commenter himself, Zealeus.
Sup?
Ladies and gentlemen, this, of course, is the Thursday Night Hangout. It's a live show where we try our best to cover the topics most important to you during this show. If at any point in the show you have any topics or subjects or questions or thoughts that you would like to add to the conversation, please do so by dropping it in the chat. If we do run out of time, we will add it to the very next show. Remember that the Thursday Night Hangout is a Twitch exclusive when it's live. And, of course, when it is recorded, it will be found on YouTube as well as embedded into our website, alteredconfusion.com. And, of course, you can watch it either on twitch.tv/alteredconfusion or alteredconfusion.tv.
So many options.
Indeed. Now, of course, remember that if you do alteredconfusion.tv, there is a fun little, I think it's like 3 lines on the right side that gives you a drop-down menu that will allow you to go to the merch page.
Because the merch is what all the cool kids are using nowadays.
That's right, man. That's right. And I'm wearing some merch right now, baby. Got the Ultra Confusion hat. And I've got my Ultra Confusion mug. Very handy.
Oh, my gosh. Those 3 lines are not obvious because they're right next to the login.
I know.
So I would think that they have to do something to do with logging in. Interesting.
Yes, I did not. I apologize. I did not get a real chance to look at updating that or to see what templates I could change today. This week has been a little bit crazy, which parts of the week that I remember. How about that? I was telling Zealeus offline that I play in a basketball league. Actually, I play in 2, and I took a bit of a wallop to the face on Monday, and so Tuesday and a little bit of Wednesday, slight blur. Well, actually, Wednesday was a blur for many reasons, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, this past Wednesday was the 23rd year anniversary of 9/11. Yes. It is also the 12th year anniversary of the birth of my eldest son.
Oh.
So there was lots going on yesterday.
That's okay. I don't remember about a third of every day.
There you go. At least, as long as you feed Rose, I think you'll survive.
Oh, she does not let me forget that.
No,
that
I know.
For sure.
I'm
yes. It's like a starving child. They're not going to probably let you forget either.
Yes. All right. Let's get into it. The first thing we got to talk about, and I'm actually, do we want to start it off funny or sad, Zealeus?
Let's go sad, and then we can uplift our spirits.
Okay, there we go. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us start off by pausing for just a minute to recognize an individual who was a titan in the movie industry. He unfortunately has passed. That, of course, is James Earl Jones, the man behind the voice of Darth Vader, also the voice of Mufasa in Lion King. He was also in Field of Dreams and Sandlot and a ton of other things. A very iconic voice, and it is sad to see that he has passed. And I thought it was beyond cool that the Empire State Building basically threw up a Darth Vader on the side of their building to basically honor James Earl Jones.
I saw that. It was actually from a couple months ago.
Oh, well.
People posted it in honor of him, but it was from like the Star Wars thing a couple months ago.
Okay, fine. Well, then how about this? Mark Hamill, upon James Earl Jones passing, uttered 2 words on social media, and that was "Rest in peace, Dad."
That's 4 words.
It was R.I.P. Dad. I just wanted to kind of cut out the middleman just in case someone out there does not know what R.I.P. stands for.
You forgot one of my favorite roles ever with him, Conan.
Yes, that one as well.
Where he was the evil sorcerer.
Sorry, I just choked on a piece of ice cube.
Very much a classic swords and sorcery movie. But yes, he definitely has one of the most sultry, best voices in movie history.
Now, of course, I very, very sad to see him go. But pivoting on to the next one, let's talk about the fact that LucasFilms is getting sued by, I believe it's the family of Peter Cushing for their CGI resurrection of Peter Cushing in Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. So, you know, from one unfortunate passing to an individual who has been dead for a bit, and it turns out that Disney has been trying desperately to try to get this dismissed. Disney apparently does not have the permission to recreate the actor's image with special effects, but they went ahead and did it because it was pivotal for him to be part of that story, which, by the way, Rogue One was, in my opinion, a very well done Star Wars movie.
It was fantastic. It was a great movie.
Yes. So the, you know, I'm trying to see how if they're, let's see here. He was, he died at 81. At the age of 81, sorry.
Say, 1981 was a while ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago. I believe he might have passed in 93. But anyways, so that, of course, you know, we're always bringing up the topics of AI, and apparently here is an example of AI resurrecting someone, and apparently a company not checking all the boxes to make sure that they have permission to make that likeness show up on screen. Now, of course,
or they check the boxes, and some of them just don't care if the boxes are actually checked or not.
Yeah. Now, of course, with such an iconic character, it's kind of hard to be like, well, this was just an homage to him. Because let's be honest, if you look at a lot of the, to be honest with you, a lot of the clickbait games or the gotcha games, a lot of the art is styled after famous actors and actresses, especially actresses. But of course, you know, we're just, you know, we're taking, what do you call it? Inspiration from this person, even though the character looks exactly like the actress in this role or that role. I find it, you know, ridiculous.
Well, the tricky part is movies from, you know, then, like, is it the character or the person that's copyrighted?
Right.
Like, is Disney within their legal rights to reuse a person's face in a future movie using AI?
Right. Now, that was kind of, I feel like that was kind of the wives' tale. I don't know the validity behind it, but a lot of people think that when Mark Hamill, who of course played Luke Skywalker, first did the Star Wars movies, that he basically signed his likeness away. And so a lot of people thought that was why you didn't see him in more films, was because because his face was Luke Skywalker, and so Luke Skywalker couldn't do other films. But of course, Harrison Ford, Han Solo, only apparently his contract was a little bit different, and that's why you saw. And also, he did a bunch of other like Lucas art films, such as Indiana Jones. Sorry, Raiders of the Lost Ark, before it was truly called Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Want to make that, you know, abundantly clear. Which I finally got my kids to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I had them close their eyes during the Ark scene, but otherwise,
some of those things can be a little bit scary.
I mean, you know, the special effects for when the skin. Sorry, spoiler alerts for those who haven't seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I don't know how people out there have not. But anyways, the special effects of watching the faces melt away made me giggle just a little bit.
Now, were their eyes truly closed, or did you do it like when I was with my dad? I had to put a cap over my eyes, but you could see through the little lid on the ball cap.
Right, exactly, through the little rivet holes or whatever they're called.
Yeah. So there's always the degree of just how closed are the eyes.
Oh, no, they had their hands fully planted over their faces.
Do they have iPads that they can use where they could go on YouTube and then see what that scene was?
Well, I would not put it past my youngest to want to know what the scene actually looked like. My eldest he doesn't do well with scary stuff. And so he probably thanks his lucky stars that we gave him a heads up going, you might want to close your eyes on this part.
That's what they want you to think. And then in the back, they're really like, they said I shouldn't do this. Therefore, I must know what it is.
Well, okay. So let's, God, I wonder if my son's going to listen to this episode or not. Well, we're just going to risk it. It's violent scenes and romantic scenes. He does not want to watch them at all. Of course, my youngest like, oh, true love's kiss.
Oh, that's very sweet of him.
I know. Anyways, okay. So speaking of old movies like Star Wars or Indiana Jones or Raiders of the Lost Ark, whatever you want to go with, there was a question that was asked of me this past week about how I feel about old movies on like anniversaries, like, you know, it's the 25th anniversary of the release of this movie, about them being having limited runs at special theaters. What do I feel about it, and would I actually go to see it in theater? Now, my answer is it would have to be one of those movies that was like earth-shattering and that changed my life. One. Two, also, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Someone would have to remind me, because I have enough trouble trying to keep track of what the hell is going on from a daily basis. So if someone goes, oh, they're going to do this thing in 3 months. In 3 months' time, I probably will have forgotten about it unless someone is badgering the shit out of me or has already bought me a ticket to go with them.
I often thought, like, for instance, you have Gladiator 2 that's coming out.
Yeah.
Like, the month before that comes out, wouldn't that be like the perfect time to redo Gladiator in the theaters? Because, I mean, you look at the movies that are in the theaters.
Yeah.
And you always have, like, movies that aren't going to make much money.
Borderlands. Sorry, what?
Or movies that have already been in the theaters for a while. You think it's like, you know, you reintroduce a movie, like, it's not costing you anything to basically install it because it's already been made and produced and et cetera. So, yeah, or like I was thinking, like, the other night I watched Interstellar, which, if you've never seen Interstellar, has one of the most phenomenal soundtracks of all time to go with the movie. And like, it's good enough watching it at home to actually be like in a true theater where you have like the actual, like, you know, Dolby surround sound, but that organ blaring at you is one of the most like moviest of movie experiences to actually experience. So yes, I'm actually surprised that theaters honestly don't leverage like re-showing movies in theaters more often.
Yeah.
Because yes, I would definitely think there's an audience for it. Of course, my other question is how much are they going to charge? Because like seeing a movie in the theater, it's like $20 a pop.
Right.
Am I going to go see Interstellar in the theater again for $20? Probably not.
I would think you would, in my personal opinion, I think you would have to go with like the used game marketing.
Exactly. So if it was like $10, then I'd be like, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
But if it's like, if they're doing full adult price, I'd be like, no. But if it's like, remember back in the day, you had like dollar theaters.
Yeah, yeah.
Like true dollar. So people don't understand. Back in the day, for the youngins, there were movie theaters that didn't have like fancy recliners and all this crazy shit. No, it was like
stadium seating.
Couple months after the movies came out, they go to $1 theaters where you can literally go see movies for like $1 or $1.50 after they were out. And it was great. So I don't even think those exist anymore.
No. I remember this probably about now it's probably more than 20 years ago, but there were certain theaters that they had the matinee discount price, but they also had special if it was like one of the last showings like during the week, not on the weekend, not like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but if you went to go see like on a Tuesday night, you could get discounted. Yeah.
So to answer your question, yes, I would definitely like when like especially sequels come out, I would definitely be like, oh, cool, they're gonna show like the first one. I'll go see it.
Yeah.
like Gladiator would definitely be something I would see in a theater again if they released it. So yes, I would definitely go do this. I wish they did.
No, and to be totally honest with you, whoever, I don't remember what studio owns Gladiator, but they should do that, because that's the kind of movie that I'm talking about, that changed. People will come just to basically quote Marcus Aurelius when he's on the floor of the Colosseum introducing himself. I mean, that's iconic.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And apparently now we have, who is it? Denzel Washington and Pedro Pascal redoing their thing as Gladiator.
The other one movie that but this is, it's absolute tradition. There's one movie that, with the exception of maybe 2 years or 3 years, has always comes back to theaters at a specific time, and it has such a cult following that people will dress up, will know all the words, and what I'm talking about is the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I know they do it at the Strand Theater over in Marietta.
I'm going to be totally honest with you. I have never seen the movie. I haven't.
I've seen it, but like it wasn't the experience.
Yeah, I feel like at this point I can't just watch it. I would have to go see the full thing. And that's the other thing. If you're going to do, I feel like if you're going to do a special release of, it's been 20 years since this amazing movie came out, I feel like it would have to be something like, over the top. It's not just a release, but an experience, maybe limited run popcorn containers as well, or I don't know, some kind of cosplay contest at the beginning, something, extra cool to further commemorate this accomplishment of how iconic this movie is. Now, I'd be a little bit scared of people showing up to Gladiator in Gladiator gear.
Leave your swords in the car.
Yeah, leave your swords and spears and oh crap, what do you call those nets that they threw?
So we're saying it's like 300 versus Gladiator.
Oh God, in the parking lot. Let's do this.
Let's go.
This is Sparta. Anyways, but yeah, I like the idea. I just, if they're going to try to charge me full price, I want an experience. I don't want to just see the movie.
I don't think it would really work well doing full price. I think it's something you'd have to do like the used game version, where it's a bit cheaper. It'd probably be like only a weekend or two, obviously a shorter run, but yeah, I would think there would be a market for it.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the next topic. The next topic has to do with the fact that there is a new PlayStation 5 that's been announced called the PlayStation 5 Pro. And Zealeus, do you know anything? I know it's coming out, and I know there's the word is ray tracing.
It has better AI ray tracing magic.
Woo!
Better GPU magic, but one of the issues is, there's two conundrums potentially.
All right.
Well, one is there's no version with the optical drive, and apparently, not apparently, the reality is you can buy an external optical drive to work with it, but apparently people are buying them up in droves to then try to scalp them. So yay, because the $700 price tag, there is no optical version. That's digital only. And then the other conundrum is apparently there's no improvement to the CPU, which the issue is, you're looking, so like kind of the golden hope is basically like 4K at 60 FPS with no drop off.
Right.
And the problem is games at that point start to become CPU bound. They already have been CPU bound, which if you don't know what CPU bound is, it basically means you can increase the graphics card, the GPU, all you want, but there's a limit due to your CPU. So if you're not increasing the CPU, increasing the GPU only has so much positive effect on it. So yes, there's the ray tracing part, and apparently it's going to help a lot with the PS2 VR, with the actual VR element, because that's all about the GPU, so that makes sense. I myself have a PS5, I have a PS2 VR, and I have absolutely no plans to get the PS5 Pro. I just don't see a need to. And I also feel like, a blind test where you sat people down with a PS5 and PS5 Pro, I bet a lot of people wouldn't even be able to guess right.
I think it would really depend on the game.
Well, that's fair, yes. But a lot of times I think, if you hold them like a half hour apart to play the game, a lot of them won't even be able to tell the difference.
Agreed. And also, another fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, you may have the most expensive system out there, but one hurdle that you may, I don't know, I hope you don't forget, is that your TV or monitors still have to be able to play ball.
And you also need the right HDMI cable to increase that bandwidth.
That too. It's not like you can have an HD thing and then run it through composite.
I have a special adapter for that, bro.
I grew it through a coax. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, so you basically need the 4K 120 hertz TV to have any benefit from it, which is still not a lot of people. Of course, the $700 price tag is not helping a lot with people's skepticism. And the reality is if you look at so many of the PlayStation game releases, a lot of them are still for PS4 and PS5. So even a lot of the games aren't pushing the PS5 boundary as it is in terms of fully leveraging the hardware. So like I said, I'm perfectly happy with my PS5. I see no reason to upgrade. And I have a feeling a lot of people are in the same boat. I would say the one caveat I would give is you can sell a PS5 for about $400. So if you consider the upgrade from the PS5 to a PS5 Pro for basically $300, I'll be like, okay, I can understand that actually. Yeah. Especially look at the price of what graphics cards for a desktop are still pretty ridiculous right now. And because their GPUs are leveraged so heavily in AI, I don't see that going away anytime soon. So it's so if you look at it that way, as a $300 upgrade for another 4 years, that's actually not a terrible price proposition.
Yeah. Just for shits and giggles, I pulled up the some of the NVIDIA cards just to see what the price tags on those are. And we're talking top end, we're talking $925. So just for the graphics card, not the rest of the computer.
No, my computer, so I rebuilt it from just the GPU. No, actually not even including the GPU, sorry. Just the CPU, motherboard, case, RAM, and a new solid state drive were $800. That's not even including the GPU, which did a GPU on par with PS5. I think it was around $400 to $500 at least. Yeah. So obviously, I know you're a PC gamer, I'm a PC gamer, but the consoles from a cost performance perspective absolutely have their value.
Absolutely.
So I think we're both the same about where it's it doesn't matter if you're a PC gamer or you're a console gamer, more power to you. And there's that benefit of the console where it just works. And a lot of we see a lot of games that are console exclusive, time exclusive, eventually come to a PC. But we've also seen many, many times over the years where they're shitty ports, at least to start. Eventually they get patched. Yeah. So people are kind of looking from the perspective of a developer is probably going to concentrate more on a better experience for the console, because guess what? They're developing for one hardware configuration. Okay, maybe two if you have the Xbox and PlayStation 5. So you basically have two hardware configurations you're developing for versus who the fuck knows for a PC. Right. So there's a lot of pros towards console gaming in that regard. So yeah, no, I get, and hardware is not cheap, so I get the $700 price tag. It's just, I think when you get over that $500, like there's something about getting past $500 that's like, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah.
Just there's like that mental barrier. It's like half of 1,000. It's just base 10 math. You get past $500, I think people are gonna have this like mental block over it. But I mean, PS5 is also still selling like hotcakes. So guess what? The PS5 Pro is probably still going to sell pretty well, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I'm having a hard. I mean, Google. For those of you who may not know, Google is sunsetting their Chromecasts and trying to push their new Google TV streamer.
Yep.
Which is $100. And I went ahead and bought 2. Hopefully they'll be here by the end of the month.
Nice.
So that we can have the full functionality, because I've already started seeing on some of my Chromecasts that when trying to stream with certain apps, it's warning us that the functionality is not all gonna work anymore. Coming soon.
Sad. Very sad.
I know. All right. Let's talk about something a little less sad, shall we? Let's talk about the fact that there is a man who is absolutely batshit nuts and is soloing a major MMO, and his version of soloing takes it to extreme. And what I'm talking about is the fact that there is an individual out there who has played Final Fantasy XIV. Is a solo-only streamer. He grinds for 85 days to topple Susano, a boss with a 14-second countdown to an unavoidable death when fought alone, and he actually won. Now, when he says solo, and this is what blows my effing mind. When he says solo, what that means is this individual does not interact with the market board, trade, or party with other players. They can't even use the NPC duty support system or quest rewards. Anything he achieves has to be done on his own with gear he's crafted or earned from the sweat of his brow. That's fucking nuts. Like, I will solo, but if NPCs are there to help me, or I've got quest rewards to, give me a little lift, I'm doing that.
That's masochistic.
Yeah,
that's just too much for me.
Yeah.
I no. Like, that doesn't even sound like fun.
No, it doesn't at all.
At all. Especially because, like, I saw where, like, he was leveling up, because I think it was like a level 64 dungeon.
Yeah.
Which basically, the thing is, he then had to get to a level 100 as a Picto Master, but you were gated from, like, getting better experience because he was bought at that level 64 dungeon to make it painfully slow to level up. I just know. No, like,
he reached level 100 on a diet of level 63 content.
No, not even. It reminds me of, so when I was in college, I roomed with this guy. And for those that remember back in the day, I think it still exists, but it was really popular as game FAQs or game facts.
Yep.
And for games, they had like video game challenges. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember Final Fantasy X was like the No Sphere Guard challenge was one of them. Well, apparently in Kingdom Hearts, mm-hmm. like the OG PS2 version, there's a secret ending or special ending if you get hit less than 100 times in the game. Mm-hmm. But in order to do that, you have to have like such high defense level when you leave the first island. I don't remember what level he had to get to anymore. Like, let's just say it was level 20 to leave the island. Mm-hmm. He had to grind that first island for like 40 hours mm-hmm. just to get a high enough level so he wouldn't get hit more than 100 times in the rest of the game. I'm like, that just doesn't sound fun to me. I'm sorry, but no. And same thing. Like, I don't know. To me, like, the challenge modes in games. So, like, challenge modes are different than difficulty. Like, right. Difficulty in games makes sense to me. Like, that's a challenge through the gameplay like kind of normal mode.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm not like a huge FromSoft game, I think of both the other side. Like that type of at least it makes sense to me because it's in like a strategic difficulty from the developer to the gamer. So I get those type of difficulties, but like these type of like made up challenges just do not sound fun to me.
No.
And I think, but I also think there has to be some kind of like, I don't know if it would be considered like OCD, the opposite of ADD. Like there's some kind, I don't want to call it mental illness because it's not, but there's some kind of like mental thing going on for people to be able to give that type of persistence to a game.
Yes. That razor focus.
I just don't know how hyper focus, whatever it is. I don't know how you can do that without having a different set of like hyper focus, I think is a good way of putting it, than like the other 99.99% of gamers.
No, I mean, the optional, you know, these challenges that are totally optional.
Oh yeah.
And then of course, you know, you have the difficulty. There's also in a lot of games nowadays, there's these kind of some games say they're skulls, or there's basically once you've, especially in roguelike adventures like Hades, you have the ability to basically toggle on some modifiers. There we go, modifiers that will change your experience. Maybe make the bosses that you have to go through harder, or perhaps the amount of loot that drops is less or something. That I'm totally cool with. But you know, having this like asinine, you know, you can only be hit less than 100 times, or this I will not. When I learned about this Final Fantasy 14 guy, I immediately thought, but they did this in a group. This was not solo, but I immediately thought of the South Park episode Make Love Not Warcraft, where all they did was sit in the woods and kill boar until they basically were able to power level their way up to beat the guy who basically was destroying the community. That's what I thought about. But that was still a team effort. This dude did it by himself. That's insane.
So in order to be able to craft, you have to be taught
recipes, right?
Yeah, from the vendor. So is that truly soloing?
You do. That's a very good question. What about it? What about recipes that are gained through quest completion?
Ooh.
I don't know. Now, if I were,
it's still cheap, of sorts.
It's insane. But if I were to try to like, you know, like in No Man's Sky, it's possible to unlock recipes by basically invading secure facilities, and once you've cleared their room, it will give you the option of like nanites or a blueprint, which would be like your crafting recipe. But I don't know if Final Fantasy 14 has anything like that, where you just random shit. Like there's a
So you have a choice. So No Man's Sky gives you a choice.
So No Man's Sky, you can go to an area and spend these salvaged like technology pieces that you find, and you can turn it in for recipes. Like five of these salvaged technology things will give you the recipe of that, or you can find them yourself, but it is a pain in the ass. But sometimes but to do that without any assistance would be insane, because a lot of the times you find that through selling other stuff to basically get a map indicator that will give you a general idea of this is an area that might have a secured facility, or no, this has a secured facility, but you're not guaranteed a recipe. So anyways, this dude is insane. I don't
It's
know.
It is something.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you at all.
I mean, you said you don't like playing with other people. Maybe it's your way to play MMOs. Maybe
no, but see, here's the thing. Like when I'm not, if I'm going to play if I don't want to play with strangers, but I have the option of having NPC assistance, I'm using NPC assistance. Or I am going to try to gain as much stuff through, the quest and everything. Like, hell, in No Man's Sky, there's a thing called the Anomaly. You go in there, and there's an area that's basically the hub of the Anomaly. It's called the Nexus. And in the Nexus, you have a list of, I think it's 5 tasks or quests. And you could choose to do it solo, or you could do it in a group. It's an instanted scenario where you go to a specific, you pop out of the anomaly and magically you're in the right galaxy. You get an indicator of what planet is on and an approximation of where it's located. They don't give you the exact location. You got to go find it. But it's usually within, I don't know, the equivalent of 800 yards of where you plop down. And then you complete it. You have to go back to the anomaly. You get your stuff, and then when you pop out, you end up wherever you started. You don't stick in that galaxy unless you get really lucky and it ends up being the same place. Which, by the way, I did beat No Man's Sky. Well, sort of beat No Man's Sky again. I ended my iteration, and a new iteration has begun in the universe that I exist in.
So it's like their version of New Game Plus?
Yeah, but you retain everything. However, well, yes and no. You do retain everything. However, everything is broken, and you have to fix it all. So all of those upgrades, all of those, really sweet things that you have connected to you so that you can use your jetpack for a long amount of time, or be able to sprint for a long amount of time, or hell, your multi-tool is completely broken, so you can't immediately mine for anything or protect yourself. It is a useless some piece of trash in your hand. You've got to find a way to fix it. And also the ship that you choose, the ship that you had as your active ship upon restarting the iteration is also beyond damage. So my recommendation for anyone out there who's playing No Man's Sky is right before you're going to restart the iteration, find your shittiest ship that's really easy to fix and switch that to your main one, because it's not like you're not going to have a space battle beforehand. You just do all this stuff, you go through a bunch of dialogue, you select a bunch of options, and poof, you get thrown on a planet, and you got to find your ship, and of course your ship is completely... And I had like my fanciest ship that has like exotic pieces that are required to fix it. And so that was a pain. I basically fixed just enough to get it off the ground. And then I got it back to my freighter. Actually, no, I went to a star base. Then I teleported to my freighter, and then had all the freighter had all the supplies I needed to fix the ship. So anyways, wow, I went off a tangent, but that's okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to pause real quick to thank all the individuals who make Ultra Confusion the beautiful Ultra Confusion that you love and adore. These, of course, are the friends of the show, and so without further ado, I want to give the shout-outs that are due to them, and that, of course, starts with the Indie Cluster. The Indie Cluster is an organization of independent game developers that want to gain exposure by being involved in the community. They collectively journey to popular conferences as a traveling booth to help gain attention for their games. They make partnerships in local communities to bring games to the mainstream mindset. They highlight local, unusual, and rare concepts that challenge the paradigm of the common. They also host events to help to teach kids and minority groups about game development to hopefully one day enter the industry themselves. For more information, go to indiecluster.com. The next shout out we got to give is to the AV master himself, and that, of course, is Noodle Boy Media. Founded in 2015 by Andrew Tran, Noodle Boy Media, previously White Kid 47 Media, is your choice for professional photo shoots and panel recordings at conventions. They pride themselves in providing a high level of professionalism, top-notch experiences, and quality services. If you want more information and to view their full list of services, check out facebook.com/noodleboymedia. The next shout out we got to give is to the individual who can help get all those aches and pains out of your body after long gaming sessions, or perhaps you work from home, or hell, you don't even have to work from home. Perhaps you just got those aches and pains from sitting in front of a computer for too long. If you're in the greater Atlanta area, please check out Hero Chiropractic. Hero Chiropractic is a unique healthcare practice set up by Ryan Moore. The company's focused to elevate a patient's experience of freedom, creative expression, and joy. They believe that everyone can be a hero and has incredible heroic potential inside themselves waiting to be unleashed. Hero Chiropractic focuses on the mobile chiropractic care in the Greater Atlanta area. They are committed to healing clients by creating a plan of action uniquely suited for each person. They make that plan of action as convenient and affordable as possible, and most importantly, suited to your individual needs. For more information, go to herochiropractic.com. The next shout out we got to give is to the music maestro himself, and that, of course, is CrossPad Creative. Need a new logo or want to work on a full branding and content strategy? Or maybe you need music or audio for your content, just like Alter Confusion. CrossPad Creative offers a whole host of solutions for individuals and small businesses. Just email Josh at crosspadcreative@gmail.com and see what he can do for you. The final shout out we got to give is to the original backer of Alter Confusion via Patreon. That, of course, is Agile Axiom. By day, Axe leads both a development team and system administration team working with satellites at NASA's Goddard campus. But while not in meetings and many times during, he is the Agile evangelist Agile Axe, championing the philosophy of Agile and trying to make the world a better place for software developers, testers, system admins, and software projects the world over. Decades of experience in software development and leading Agile teams are brought to bear against evil processes, inefficient work, and bad habits. For more information, go to agileaxiom.com. Now, of course, at this very moment in time, I know you are dying to know, how do I become a friend of Alter Confusion, a friend of the show? That, of course, is quite simple, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, Alter Confusion survives on the love and support of fans like you, and so we have a Patreon page. Patreon lets you, the fans, lovers, haters, demigods, interdimensional beings, gods, demons, aliens, vampires, swamp creatures, mummies, werewolves, supporters, and more to become active participants in the work we love through a monthly membership. This gives you access to exclusive content, community, and insight into our creative process. In exchange, we gain a bit more freedom to do our best work and the stability we need to build an even stronger creative career. We currently have 2 tiers that you can pledge at. There's the $1 a month. That's $1 a month or $12 a year. What you get is early access to all of our playthroughs, as well as the ability to participate in patron-only posts. Now, if you're feeling a little extra frisky and you want to become a friend of the show, there's the $5 tier. That's $5 a month or $60 a year. Not only do you get everything at the $1 tier, but you also gain your name or organization added to the Friends of the Show section of every single Thursday night hangout. So if you want to become a patron of Alter Confusion, go to Patreon. That's patreon.com/Altered Confusion. The next public service announcement we got to make is the fact that, ladies and gentlemen, Alter Confusion is proud to say that we have been fundraising for Extra Life for 13 years straight. Extra Life is gamers doing what they do best, game, to help sick and injured children at their chosen Children's Miracle Network Hospital. The money that we raise through Extra Life will go directly to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta as unrestricted funds. This means that the hospital decides where and how to spend the money to ensure the dollars we raise make the biggest impact in the lives of the kids they treat. So if you have the capacity to donate, please go to extra-life.org and search for Altered Confusion today. And, of course, I did do a shout-out early on, but, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like some of the sweet Alter Confusion swag, be it the hat, a coffee cup, the pet bowl, flip-flops, I can't remember, the notepad, the vinyl sticker, and more, all you got to do is go to alteredconfusion.tv/merch, and you can check out all the offerings there. Now, let us get back to the stories. Now, as a veteran MMOer, Zealeus is probably a better individual to answer this question or talk about it. So we are going to let Zealeus field this one, and that deals around the concept of power leveling. Now, there was a recent article written about a World of Warcraft veteran who said that power leveling is a mistake. Getting to level cap should be an accomplishment, not a blip. So, Zealeus, what are your thoughts on power leveling?
the biggest issue I've seen with power leveling in MMOs is they get somebody for like level 0 or 1 to like level 100, whatever the level cap is.
Yep.
They get there and they have no idea how to use their skills.
Yep.
That's the biggest problem. Like the blip thing of like the journey of leveling, that kind of comes down to what does the gamer want to do. But the issue, I think, with particularly with MMOs is if you get somebody who gets that top level and they're then trying to do like a dungeon or something multiplayer, because they're not single player only, then it can actually adversely affect like your team composition because they have no idea how to actually play the class. But it's twofold. One is I'm aware that there's paid power leveling that you can like get online, but then also the MMOs I know of, they all offer like level boost. So there's the money part where people are obviously willing to purchase boost for leveling. So why is a developer not going to sell those?
Right.
So yeah, I'm not a big fan of it necessarily, but it's one of those things where it's like, whatever.
Yeah,
I find it a bigger issue in PvP games because you get boosted. I have no idea what the hell the ranks in Overwatch are now, but let's just say back in the day, you get a boost from bronze to platinum, and all of a sudden you're a bronze level player playing a platinum, and you're going to cause your team to get, waffle stomped because you have no idea how to actually play the game at a platinum level.
Right.
So that I do think is extremely problematic.
Yeah,
there's also not a good solution for it.
Yeah. Because everybody wants to get that achievement of being the best of the best, even if they're not the best of the best.
Well, you see it all the time where people were like, I'm stuck in silver, but I'm really a platinum player. It's like, no,
there's probably a reason why.
Yes. If you're really a platinum player, you're being platinum. That's not how it works, bro.
It's when you're doing PvP, I think that whatever your rank is where you're supposed to be. It's not magically like I've been wronged because my mouse's click rate is slower because of my rig or whatever.
Oh, you missed out on some very lengthy on the Overwatch forums, Elo Hell dissertations, basically stating that there is such a thing as Elo Hell. So for those who don't know, Elo is basically the computational ranking that video games give you in a PvP-oriented format. And so the argument basically comes down to when you get such a terrible rank with your Elo, that your play basically has no influence on the game anymore because all your teammates are so shitty. So it's not really your fault that you lose. I think it's dumb and stupid, but that's the gist of the argument of Elo Hell. There's definitely people out there who believe it exists. I think they're full of shit.
What do you think about some of the games that when a new season starts, everyone starts from zero and does not retain their accomplishments from the previous season?
I'm fine with that, honestly.
I am too. I think that because I'm going to be totally honest with you. Once upon a time, I used to be like heavy into Smite and Paladins. And so I climbed a good chunk of the way up. And hell, for Legends of Runeterra for a bit, I also started climbing. But then I've taken a lot of time off. And so there's no way in hell that I would be able to play at that level. Or, maybe between seasons, they tweak something with my main character. And then I'm Fubard. And I definitely do not belong in the diamond or the gold or the silver or whatever the other ones are below it.
I know what Overwatch did. I think it was the rank after golds, like as platinum. Is you have what was called rank decay, meaning like if you didn't play for X number of time, you basically decay your rank down to gold or whatever it was.
Right.
And again, that's totally reasonable to me. I don't see an issue with that at all. And kind of like if you get like, let's just say everyone goes back to like rank 0, well, naturally over the course of games, you'll get to your previous rank. I don't think it should go back next to rank 0 because you're actually a legit GM player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is kind of shitty if you have to grind all the way back to that every single season.
That's true.
So I don't think going back to like everyone's at 0 and 0 and rank 0 to start is necessarily equitable.
Mm-hmm.
But having some kind of soft reset every season, I think that's pretty normal and not really, as long as it's not too extreme. I think that's relatively normal, honestly.
So just for context, for those who don't know, this is for Overwatch 2. I would assume that it's probably pretty comparable to Overwatch 1. The lowest ranked is bronze. It goes bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, master, grandmaster, and champion.
Yeah. I was definitely not a champion.
Zealeus was diamond, right?
Diamond, mostly gold, occasionally. Yeah. It was fun. I enjoyed it back in the day.
Yes. Back in the day.
But I saw somebody booted Paladins today.
Ah, yes, that someone was not me.
That
was...
Wait, are you account sharing?
No, so my eldest was home from school today, and I left him to play No Man's Sky, and apparently he got frustrated and switched over and played a couple rounds of Paladins.
Nice.
So there you go.
That's funny.
There is the story. There.
I saw it come up. I'm like, what? He's back? No way.
No. I mean, I dipped my toe in there for like half a second when both my boys were playing Paladins out of the blue. But I had spent too much time away from it, so I didn't really remember exactly the flow of how I played, because I have my favorite character is one that teleports all over the place. And so it's a lot of timing.
Yep.
And I didn't remember I just couldn't get the timing right.
I find a tricky thing though, if you play an online game, be it like an MMO or a PvP game like Overwatch or Paladins.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be current with the content and understand like, the players and the meta and stuff, you almost have to play like at the exclusion to everything else.
Yes.
Because it requires a lot of time. And so that's why I also have very little desire right now, like to get into any kind of PvP game, because I'm also aware of to be anywhere competitive at all requires basically just playing that.
Yep.
Which there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just not at that point right now where that's what I want to do.
Yeah. And I don't really play PvP, and I've unfortunately fallen into that rabbit hole just with No Man's Sky, where I've put 70 hours into it, and to the detriment of all the other games that have been sitting there going, play me.
Well, I started playing this week, finally, was Baldur's Gate 3.
I was able to not buy it.
So the fun thing about Baldur's Gate 3 is, so I'm sure you did the thing in Mass Effect or most of BioWare games where you'd like save before doing anything and you could always reload it, right?
Yep.
Well, Baldur's Gate 3, it's based off of D&D's D20 system, which means you're rolling shit all the time with your dice. It's I'm sure everyone does it where it's like, okay, before the battle, F5 for quick save.
Yep.
First shot, miss. Reload.
Is reload F6?
F8.
F8.
And then like every turn, it's like, okay, this guy's 8 hit points. My bow hits between 1 to 8 damage with a 60% chance to hit. Damn it, I'm going to do it until I kill him so he doesn't kill my other guy.
Yep.
So I take it 20 times, but abso-freaking-lutely, quick save and then reload until you get that roll of a magic 8 with the D8. And the funny thing is, obviously they know people do it because the default is like 50 quick saves.
Yeah.
So it is kind of humorous where I'm like, it's a dice-based game, but at the same time, you can abuse the hell out of it. My other fun thing to do is you can change the difficulty on the fly. And so like, if you get to a battle and it's hard, you can like change the difficulty from like intermediate to beginner, and like your HP doubles and all the enemies half. I'm like, hell yeah.
You basically, I don't know, Zealeus, you probably watched this, but for those out there who may be missing out on this, there is a YouTube channel called Viva La Dirt League, and they do a lot of. There was one where the guy literally like takes 2 steps, quick save, quick save, quick save, 100%. And then he accidentally gets a little too close to a. He starts falling off a cliff. He goes quick save, and then he keeps coming back and then falling again, and then he's like load main. And it's basically 2 seconds into the game, so he's lost everything.
Pretty close. Yeah. So, yeah. No, I'm definitely understanding why people definitely thoroughly enjoy it. So, ironically, one of the things I like about it is, so one of the things that always gets me about some of the BioWare games, or I guess more the isometric Dungeon Dragons games, is like you have so many choices as a class.
Yep.
Do you want a multi-class, single class? Do you want to level up, your constitution or your strength? Like, really all you have to choose is like your subclass of your main class. It's like you're just playing the game without worrying about all these other extraneous things. But no, it's definitely a solid game. Definitely recommend it, yo.
All right.
You have to give in one of these times.
And I will eventually. Don't worry.
Isn't it still on sale?
Huh?
Isn't it still on sale?
No, probably not.
Sure about that?
I'm not going to check. How about that, Zealeus? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next topic. This one, we talked about this a little bit ago. There is a streamer that is quite controversial and who has had quite a bit of a turbulent road. He's been kicked off platforms. He's lost sponsorship deals, and now with a lot of heat still on him for allegations surrounding inappropriate messaging of a minor on Twitch. The person I'm talking about is Dr. Disrespect, and in a very interesting, ironic twist of fate, apparently Dr. Disrespect was doing a stream on YouTube recently, and he was trying out the game, or trying to play the game. I want to make sure I get this right. DeadLock. All right, so he jumps into it, and as soon as he jumps into it, and the game loads, and it's a squad-based game, or there's multiple players, whatever. As soon as everybody figured out that it was Dr. Disrespect, everybody but Dr. Disrespect disconnected. And he left him by himself.
Oh, poor Dr. Disrespect.
Which is so funny. Everyone on his team left the lobby after finding out that it was him on their team.
Yeah.
So
he's just somebody I don't really care about.
I always thought he was very strange, and apparently, I was right. He is very strange. And yeah.
It's kind of like the ultra celebrity, where people get obsessed with celebrities. That's how I feel about a lot of the streamers.
Yeah.
It's like people become obsessed with them, and like I just don't really care about it. Like, the only reason I watch streamers is like because they give actual news content.
Right.
Like there's one guy who usually watch like MMO Bite, because as you know, I play MMOs, and his are always news about MMOs. I find it interesting because it's like, oh, this is actually content I care about, but they're like 10-minute videos,
right,
where it's just the news. And I know the dude streams, but like actual content from the MMOs, but I just don't care because, I mean, you know me, I've never really watched people stream.
Right.
But it's also like different with like the level of obsession some people get with the streamers. I mean, again, I guess it's no different than people's obsession with the Beatles in a way, where, people become obsessed with celebrities.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, there's 2 other celebrities that are on my mind that unfortunately have been put in the crosshairs. A man who I thought could do no wrong, Dave Grohl, unfortunately just revealed that he had an extramarital affair and it produced a daughter. That man cannot produce anything but girls. But that sucked. And then, of course, the one that really hit, or I guess it hit additionally as hard, was all the news coming out about Neil Gaiman.
I saw that. Like, I don't really know what's like. I saw, I guess, it was actually the book you told me to read.
The Graveyard Book?
Which was phenomenal, by the way. But I guess that was in production and Disney halted it because of whatever is going on with Neil Gaiman. And it's
sexual assault and abuse.
Damn. No, that's no good. Yeah. No good.
Yeah. So kind of, I was talking to someone about this, and it kind of puts us in a weird, puts an individual who's been a fan for years in a weird spot, because now I don't want to support that type of behavior. However, I've read all these books, and I own all these books and the movies, and I've loved Sandman, and I've always wanted to get into Good Omen, but now I'm like, do I want to get into Good Omens? And there, Amazon was also talking about making an adaptation of another one of his books, which I'm sure is completely dead in the water now. Or was it AMC that had American Gods?
Yeah, it's always the tricky proposition of where's the line between like supporting an art, like are you supporting the artist because you consume their content,
right?
Be able to separate the celebrity from what I do. And I think a good example, like I watch a lot of NFL football,
right?
And the reality is, I don't want to. It's tricky because I don't want to like be all prejudiced against them, but a lot of them are not good people,
right?
Or stereotype them, I guess, is what I don't want to do. I don't want to stereotype them, but the reality is they are, and it gets swept under. So many of it gets swept under the rug very efficiently because they make the monies.
Yep.
So it's like, am I, supporting, I think an easy example is Deshaun Watson, who's a complete scumbag. Am I supporting him
by watching NFL games?
NFL games, I think it's a legitimate question to ask.
Right.
I think it's up to each person to answer for themselves of like, am I? Because it is unfortunately that not so many of, I don't want to say so many of them, but it all takes is a couple of them to be not good people,
right?
To kind of pause for a second and be like, is this something I want to support?
Right. Well, I mean, look, another example would be supporting anything Harry Potter related, J.K. Rowling. Yep. Or, gosh darn, I had another one. Is it okay to still like The Usual Suspects because it has Kevin Spacey in it?
Or is it okay to watch
House of Cards?
House of Cards, thank you. I was like, it's not called The President.
No, it's called House of Cards.
House of Cards, which I've never actually watched the last season. It's, I don't know. Or anything revolving around Harvey Weinstein, which is
There's a lot of Weinstein movies that.
And even movies he was an executive producer on, he still had his fingers on.
Right.
Basically everything in Hollywood for years.
Yeah. I mean, you're put into a dilemma when it came to Hogwarts Legacy, okay? There was a lot of people boycotting it because it's J.K. Rowling. But in the same vein, I personally, this is just me, Charlie, bought Hogwarts Legacy to support the developers because this is their livelihood. Okay? Some may share the opinion of J.K. Rowling's. Some may not. I don't think I could personally be like, damn them all for even being assigned this project that they didn't have a choice. I mean, I guess they did have a choice, but if they said no, I don't want to do it, they'd probably be unemployed.
And I have no problem if people boycott Harry Potter. No problem with it.
Yeah,
but I also feel like it's sometimes a little bit of a tricky, slippery slope because if you look at a lot of very few companies have that type of public face, right? If you look at a lot of companies, you want to start looking at like their CEOs and executives who directly profit, usually via stock options and other shit. A lot of them are pretty terrible people too.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, to me, like the idea of boycotting Chick-fil-A. I don't necessarily agree with what the Truitts do with their whole gay conversion shit.
Right.
But guess what? I still love their fucking chicken sandwich. I'm going to eat Chick-fil-A. And I look at it as so many companies, if you look at them, their executives are going to also create these moral dilemmas.
Right.
Now, to be fair, there definitely comes a point where boycotting a company makes logical sense. I think it is up to each person to figure out where that is.
Right.
What I will say is I don't think it's, if somebody wants to boycott like Harry Potter or Chick-fil-A, I say more power to them.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't think if somebody's using their voice in their money to boycott a company, like we shouldn't disparage them for that choice also.
Right.
Because that is also their moral prerogative to do that.
But also you have to understand with a lot of things is that some people who do not boycott, it does not mean that they believe in the wrongdoings of the individual. Like just like the Hogwarts Legacy game. There were a lot of people, there were artists, there were programmers and QA testers and all those people. I bought the game because they made a good product, not because J.K. Rowling's name was slapped on the side of the box. And it boils down to, unfortunately, it also boils down to other media like TV and movies. Are you saying that you're going to boycott a TV show or a movie because of one individual in a cast of, let's say, 25 individuals, plus you have all of the production staff and sound stage and the CGI people? There's a lot more than just that person. I understand you don't want to personally support you. I have no problem with someone boycotting, say, all the Chick-fil-A stuff or all the Harry Potter stuff, but to go, I do have a problem when people go after an individual who doesn't immediately stop everything. But it's not because they support the individual that's in the wrong. It's that they, it's like Good Omens. Because Neil Gaiman's name's attached to it, of course, it's now going to be in purgatory. But am I not going to watch it? David Tennant and who's the other guy?
I always forget the guy's name.
Oh, whatever the guy's name is. I mean, they probably don't have, most likely do have, are nothing like Neil Gaiman. Am I penalizing them for the IP owner? Because of the IP owner? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I think it's something that every individual has to find where they draw the line. And you got to be okay with it. But just wherever you draw the line, don't force me to have to decide, am I a bad person because I don't see that line as the line of my line? Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yep. No, I get it. It's still it should be up to the liberty of the individual person to be able to choose.
Yeah. So, anywho, I thought we were going to run out of time before we got to the Neil Gaiman thing, but unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. We still had some time, so we went over it. I'm shocked about all this, because once once you find out, once the news broke, then like all this additional stuff came out, and I'm just like, I feel icky. Let's just put it that way.
I know, and like, you also like many of his books, like especially like the end of the Graveyard Book, like they end up having like hope, kind of for the future.
Yeah,
and having that positive spin on it, and like, if you kind of associate when you get those fuzzy, warm feelings, that the author also elicits those as a person.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's not the reality. It definitely makes it sad.
Also, side note, real quick, I know we're almost out of time, but I do want to point out that there's also the opposite that happens on occasion. That's when an individual becomes such their character in a TV show. Ladies and gentlemen, when you go see an actor or actress at a convention, they are not the character they play. They may be an amazing person who can basically live that character while on screen, but that does not give you the right to treat them as if they were that character in real life.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there because I've unfortunately, because a lot of the big conventions have happened in the past couple, like the past 2 or 3 weeks, that a lot of these stories are now coming out. Actors and actresses are people, and they have their own lives, and some of them are fucking phenomenal when they're on screen. But whatever they're portraying on screen potentially is not who they are in real life. So treat them as human and not the character they portray on the screen.
Which is especially ironic because the character who you're referring to is like literally the complete opposite of a character that they played on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our show. So, I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Alter Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, it's been a pleasure giving you our heads, our mouths, and, of course, our hearts. We'll be back next Thursday for another Alter Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
And remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.